Hey folks, I thought you might find it useful to see how we use the CRAAP method with a reading. So we're going to look at how to save the middle class when jobs don't pay, and we're going to use the CRAAP method on it. So remember, our first question in the CRAAP method is currency, and we need to figure out when this thing was published. So if we scroll down, we will see that it was published in 2019. So 2019, that's about 5 years. It's probably pretty current. Our next question is relevancy. How useful an article is always depends on the argument you're trying to make. In this case, we're going to be imagining that we're writing an essay on the economic proposals from Harris and Trump as they run for president. So this is probably pretty relevant. At least it could be if we're looking at things that have to do with middle class. Our next one is accuracy. Accuracy can be a little bit challenging to determine because we have to figure out what it is that we're going to be checking. So one thing we would want to do is find statistics that we could easily check. So we could, for example, check this information about the governor and see if Alaska was really did these things when he reports he did. We could also check for something like this, where he talks about statistics from the Bureau of Labor. We should be able to look those up without too much work. And there's quite a bit of evidence in here that we could check. So if we did that, we would probably find out that it is pretty good. I've done these checks before, so just take my word for it. Then we scroll down a little bit and we need to know about the authority. How trustworthy is this author? Is he an expert on the topic? And again, we find that he's written several books. So in general, he seems okay, but we might want to do a Google check just to see if there's any criticisms of him or of this article. And finally, purpose. What is the author trying to do? This has to do with the thesis, but if we remember that the author is proposing a plan, he does have some reasons to want us to accept what he has to say. So we might question if he's playing fast or loose with any of the evidence. But on the whole, if we were to look at this CRAAP method, we would generally conclude that this is a potentially good source for that argument. If we were looking at a different argument, the source may not be that useful. And as the source continues to get older and older, we might need to question how useful it's going to be. For instance, in 10 years, this source is probably not going to be that credible anymore. Now, let's talk quickly about Stasis method. And you'll remember that there are 4 stases. So from the bottom up, they are fact, definition, quality, and policy. And the idea is that before we can make an argument of definition, we have to set up facts. Before we can make an argument about quality, we have to set up definitions and facts, and so on and so on. So the question then is, what is the main claim in this article? And since we know that the author is proposing a plan, that means that this is primarily a stasis of policy. And because we know that it's policy, we know that we should be able to answer questions about who is affected by this problem and by the potential fixes, how are we defining the problem and the fixes, and what are the facts? And as we look through this essay, we would find all of those things, so we could be pretty confident that this is a stasis of policy. And remember, policy always equals what should or should not happen. I hope you found this useful. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a good day.